bins, because basically I had a lot of doubts myself going into learning Pester, and when I was going in and starting to actually work on getting a better kind of like pipeline going for myself, I kept hitting where almost everything involved some sort of testing. So I decided I'd go ahead and give it a shot, since for the most part, most of what I do, a lot of what I do throughout the day is, software deployments and configurations, and, all that sort of type stuff. It's what I do a lot of the time. So a lot of those type of issues that I encounter doing that, it's like per device. It's like on my machine it probably works great, but this machine has something installed differently, or usually it's like this model has a different driver. A lot of that type of stuff is the issues I encounter. So I kind of overlooked Pester and didn't really think I was going to see as much use out of it as I ended up having. So it's actually impacted how I write PowerShell more than really any other thing I can think of. So I'll go ahead and get the slides again. So with that, I do want to say that I am still learning it myself. So if there's stuff that I'm still not 100%, got down pat. So if anybody has any experience with Pester and sees anything that I could have done better, or I might have done wrong or anything like that, let me know so I can actually fix it myself. Because honestly, every time I look at something, I feel like I have to rewrite it now, because I've learned something new than the day before, and realized, I could have done it better. So here are what I would consider kind of the requirements you would need to get started with Pester. Really, I feel like that should be the first thing anybody wanting to improve, their day-to-day, kind of life in writing anything, PowerShell or any, even bash scripts, honestly. Because I got started doing version control before I ever got into PowerShell with bash scripts. But I found this quote by Stephen Morawski that really stuck with me. And it really, I struggle with that mentality, but really if you think about it, a lot of what we are doing is, you ask somebody who is kind of outside of what we do, and they're going to say, I can't really tell you what's the difference between what they're doing and what you're doing. So with source control and version control, whichever you want to phrase it, I really think that is where you should start before you even get into Pester. Now, I do know there's some tools like PowerShell Studio, and I think IC Steroids and things like that have some built-in version control stuff that you can use that's a little bit different than, say, Git or anything like that. But even if that's something you start with, I would even recommend that. And I just want to really reiterate it. This is something that I think it opens the door of sharing and working with others, which I think is very valuable. I've improved what I do by looking at what other people do far